Hello, everybody, and welcome to my live stream. It's great to be here. My name is Steve Mills, and I've been helping small businesses to grow now for over 30 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way he's old enough. He must have started when he was about 10 years old, but sadly, that is not true. But welcome anyway. My promise, as ever, is to try and make sure that you get the most out of your time with me. You're going to be about 20 minutes today, something like that. And I've got a couple of things for you to think about that I think will, if implemented, and implementation is always the most important thing, if implemented, I think they could have a profound effect on your business in 2026. So the title of today is all about what I call low-hanging fruit. It's like the easy wins. It's where when people sign up to me and pay me to coach them, advise them, perhaps they come on my results mastery program or one of my other programs, we tend to start off. We tend to look at what's the easy wins. How can we get some quick money and make at least enough to pay for this 12-month program in month one? That's always the goal, make at least, ideally 10 times more in month one, but at least enough money to pay for the whole program in the first month. So we set about some quick wins, some low-hanging fruit. I want to also pose a question for you, which I believe will add enormous value to your business. But I'm going to do that probably after about 10 minutes when I've just spoken to you about what are the low-hanging fruit that you can harvest and how can you win business pretty quickly within the next month. So here we go. So firstly, your low-hanging fruit, and I know you've got this because 99.9% of the businesses that I speak to have got this, and that is the leads that you've not really followed up on. You've sort of done it. You've perhaps followed up once, followed up twice. They've ghosted you. They've not returned your calls. They've not responded to your emails. And at some point, after 1, 2, or perhaps 3 attempts, you've decided they're not interested. They've gone away. They're not going to buy from you. And you know what? You could be right. You could be right. They could be, changed their mind, gone with somebody else, been eaten by an alligator. Who knows what has happened? But the bottom line is they're a little bit of a challenge, so you give up. And in my belief, you've given up far too early. There are statistics around, and I'm sure you've heard them before, that it takes 8 attempts to make a sale. I've also heard it takes 12 attempts to make a sale. And I actually believe all that is a load of rubbish because it depends, doesn't it? It doesn't always take me 8 attempts. Maybe that's 8 on average. But what I do know is that it depends on the quality of those attempts. Meeting somebody is far better than sending somebody an email, for example. You've more chance of winning business if you meet them than you have if you send them a letter through the post or an email or you connect to them on LinkedIn. They're all contacts, but they're not as good as meeting someone. So it depends on the quality as well as the quantity. But I do firmly believe that a lot of businesses leave money on the table by not following up on their low-hanging fruit. In this case, it's the leads that they haven't connected to. Secondly, I'd say another one, which is a real opportunity, and that is through social media. I win a significant amount of business from social media, and I've done so for years and years, probably 10 years, with the exception of during COVID, where my numbers went down considerably, as did pretty much everybody else's on the planet. So unless you sold vaccines or something like that. what is it? What do I do that other people don't do on LinkedIn? Because believe me, if you're not winning business on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, or X as it's called now, and Instagram and so on and so forth, there's a reason for it, because some people do. Some people win millions of pounds on it. I can't claim to do that myself, but I'm certainly winning, over six figures from LinkedIn alone. Let's put it that way. So how do I do that? What I do is this: I speak to people or message people individually. If you put it down to one single thing, it will be that. Now, in addition, I have a newsletter. I'm posting 4 or 5 times a day on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'm putting a lot of effort in. I'm doing videos. I'm doing all that sort of stuff. But where the business comes from, where the low-hanging fruit is picking up the phone and talking to people, messaging people on a one-to-one basis, emailing people, getting people out of LinkedIn into your email system and communicating with them. That's number 2. Number 3 is all the people, when you send out emails, and if you're not sending out emails, that could arguably be another one. That's a low-hanging fruit. Keeping in touch with people on a regular basis and building a list. By the way, if you've not got a list, then you're losing out. Why haven't you got a list? Why haven't you got a list of people who are interested in you and your business and what you do, that you could market to on an ongoing basis virtually for free? I don't get that. I really don't. So if you've not got that, then go and get it. Go and start setting that up, working on it. Even if you start with just a few hundred people, and you may think, well, I've not got a few hundred people, Steve. Yes, you have. You've got customers, you've got prospects, you've got people you network with, you've got even family members, you've got friends, you've got people you used to work with, you've got these leads that you've not converted. And so on and so forth. So, you got your LinkedIn contacts. You say, well, I've not got a database. Well, you've got maybe at least 1,000 people you're connected to on LinkedIn. So that's 1,000 emails that you could be sending out. So, send out, keep in touch. I can't tell you how important it is to keep in touch with people. It really, really is. So, have a good think about that, and not only think about it, but blooming well do it. Go and do it. I like to be a little bit direct, as you probably gather. It's the Yorkshire in me that's coming out. Go and do it, right? And you'll get more money, and you'll have more money in your bank, and you'll have a merrier Christmas next year than you're having this year, probably. So, that's an important, excuse me, that's an important next step. Okay. So keep in touch with people. Another one would be, if you do keep in touch with people, let's say, I'll give you an example from my world. I send out probably 2, sometimes 3 emails a week. Now, I do that in a way that's not always, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy something else? Because people get fed up with that. They get fed up with people constantly trying to sell them stuff. No, what I've got to do is I've got to build my reputation. I've got to build the perception of Steve. I've got to get people to believe that I really know what I'm talking about. And I do. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've learned my expertise from the world's leading sales and marketing experts, and I pass that on to my clients. So, but they don't know that, do they? They don't know. They think I'm a normal guy, I'm a normal marketer who's maybe been to university 30, 40 years ago, and perhaps got a job in corporate world, which is zero to do with modern digital marketing methods and marketing methods employed by small businesses. And all of a sudden they decide that they're marketing experts or consultants or whatever. But I've been in the coalface for 30 years helping businesses. I've worked with thousands, somewhere around about 10,000 businesses. And I've helped them, and you might think this is BS, but it's not. I've helped them make in excess of £100 million in additional unforeseen income. Now I say that not, it's not untrue. It is absolutely true. Do I know the exact figure? No. Do I know that it's more than 100 million? Absolutely. I made one client 42 million on their own, and I've worked with over 10,000 different businesses over the last 30 years. Some of them have come on my courses. Others have been one-to-one consultancy clients. Others have been on my programs. And some have outsourced their marketing to us. So either way, if you do need help, I'd love to help you in that way. Please feel free to get in touch. You can see my website on the wall behind me or in the bottom corner of the screen. So if all this is the case, let's just go back and talk about emails. So I'm sending out 4 or 5 emails a week. And they're going out to my database, not always to all the database. Sometimes I'm segmenting and targeting people who are current clients, who are past clients, who are prospects, who are people in the coaching industry or the training industry or some other industry. So it's not always going out to everybody. But if it did go out to everybody, it would go out to about 9,000 people, something like that. So with that in mind, let's say I send out an email today that goes out to 9,000 people. Say maybe 100 or so don't receive it for whatever reason, their inbox is full or whatever. So we've got, let's say, 8,900 people receive it. And out of those, let's say 2,000 of them open the email up and read it, because that's, the stats with email marketing. Not everybody's going to see your stuff anyway. Sometimes it's going to get caught in spam filters. Sometimes they just delete it by mistake and not actually read it, and so on and so forth. But let's say 2,000 people read it. Now, out of those 2,000, because on my emails there will always be links to find out more. Find out more about this. Here's my top 5 tips for internet marketing. Click here to find out more. That type of thing. Always encouraging people to take an action. Now, that might be to go and watch a video, to sign up to a live stream like this. It might be to go to my website and read a blog post, etc., etc. So there's always a call to action. Now, what I do, and what I'm recommending you do, from the point of view of harvesting your potential business, the low-hanging fruit, if you will, what I do is I then, with the technology that I've got, I can see who's clicked and gone to my website. So out of those 2,000 people who've read it, let's say 500 of them have clicked on my link to find out more. Why would they find out more, ladies and gentlemen? It's because they're interested. That's the only reason. Maybe they're competitors checking me out, and maybe they go through and actually, do you know what? They're not interested. But out of those 500, we're going to have at least, say, 400 that are interested. What do most people do with them? Nothing. Absolutely diddly squat. They don't do anything with those 400 people. But if you did, if you picked up the phone and went, "Oh, hi, Steve Mills here. I sent you an email earlier today about XYZ. I noticed that with the technology we've got, that you not only read it, but you click through to my website to find out more. So just as part of a courtesy call, I thought I'd give you a quick ring to see what you thought, answer any questions that you may have, and just to try and get a little bit of feedback. Do you have 2 minutes? That's not cold calling, guys. That's probably warm calling. are at least lukewarm calling. You know, they're at least interested. They might not be ready to buy yet, but they're a proportion of the way along that path or down that funnel, if you will. So those people need a phone call. Now, not all of them. You might not have their phone number, but there's always ways of getting that on LinkedIn, on their website, and so on. But if you can't, then you can email them, or you could text them. If there's 500, you may say, do you know what? There's no way I'm going to make 500 calls in the next couple of days. I'm just too busy. So you could send them an email. You could send them a text message, send them a WhatsApp. Thanks ever so much for your interest. We noticed with the technology that we've got that you click through to my website. Tell me, do you have any questions at all? What did you think? This is so blooming easy, and yet 99% of businesses are not doing it. They're just simply not doing it. You've got another list of all your people on LinkedIn I've already mentioned. Why aren't you harvesting those? How many? Let's just say this. Okay, so here's a great simple way you can benefit from low-hanging fruit. You've got an amount of people you're connected to on LinkedIn. I've got around about 14,000. Most businesses have got like 1,000 or 2,000, something like that. So let's say you've got 1,000, just for easy reckoning. And what you're going to do is you're going to phone 10 of them every day. 10 people every day. It's going to take you virtually no time at all. You're going to phone 10 people and you're going to say, hi, it's Steve Mills here. You're going to use your name, not say Steve Mills, because that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? So, hi, it's Steve Mills here. We're connected on LinkedIn, and I don't think we've ever spoken, so I thought I'd just be proactive and give you a quick call. Have you got 2 minutes? Or you might say, I'd like to find out a little bit more about your business and tell you a little bit about mine to see if there's any way we can help each other on LinkedIn or elsewhere. Would that be okay to do? And again, you tend to, people tend to give one or two answers. They either say, oh, sorry, right now it's not great. No problem at all. When's good? Next Wednesday at 10, is that okay? Right, let's get it in the diary. Get a call to action, 10 o'clock next Wednesday. They've got a meeting, perhaps a Zoom meeting we could do. And if they say, yeah, I've got a couple of minutes, Steve, sure. We go ahead and have a conversation. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to get a meeting. Now, one of my clients won £8,000 worth of business the following day in the first 10 meetings. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to do that, but I would guarantee, I'd certainly have a bet with you if we were betting, that if you made those 1,000 calls at 10 a day over the next year, well, it's not even going to take you a year, is it? That's what, 100 days. 100 days that's going to take you over. So over the next 100 days, perhaps starting now or starting in January, I think starting now would be a good one, because that would give you Christmas. So it's like, oh, hi, happy Christmas. How are you? How's business? How's 2025 gone? What plans have you got for next year? You could easily get into a conversation around that. And, I just think that would win your business. So anyway, I'm going to finish it there. I've been about 20 minutes already. Just got one other thing to tell you, which I think is really, really valuable. Many years ago, I learned from a guy, and still do to this day, whose name is Peter Thompson. He's a great guy, really nice guy. He's a Brummie. So Peter is a business advisor, a bit like me, very successful. And he came up with this, I think it was him anyway, I think he came up with it. I certainly learned it from him. He came up with this concept called If Only I'd. And the idea behind If Only I'd is this, is that you sit down, possibly with your team or on your own, and answer the question, if only I'd. So the idea behind it is that if you look back over the last 12 months And let's just assume that you've not been as successful this year as you would have liked to have been. Then you answer the question, if only I'd. So for me, it might be something like, if only I'd managed to improve the conversion rate of my email marketing. If only I'd followed up more on the phone. If only I'd worked on my website to improve its search engine optimization. If only I'd asked more people for a referral to give me a testimonial or a recommendation into another business. So you get the idea. Yeah. And what we do is we come up with perhaps 5, perhaps 10, maybe even 15 or 20 if only I'ds. What do we do with them though? Well, what we do with them is really simple. We do it next year, as in January. So if my own if only I'd was, if only I'd asked more people for a recommendation, for a referral, then starting in January, I'm going to set myself a goal of speaking to at least 5 people every day, perhaps phoning them up. And part of that phone call is to ask them for a referral. Who do they know that would be interested in my services? Or even better, who do they know that I could help in the same way that I've helped them? Okay, so just do that exercise, and then when you've got your list of if only I'ds, follow up and use it going forward. This is incredibly powerful, guys. It's lovely and simple as well. It's just a piece of paper and a pen, or a Word document, and just list down all the if only I'ds. If only I'd done this, and it can be used in anything. If my goal in 2025 was to lose a couple of stone in weight, and I hadn't done it, I could do if only I'd gone to the gym more often. If only I'd stopped eating 20 Mars bars a day. I don't, by the way. I just use that by way of a silly example. If only I'd done this, and if only I'd done that. So something to think about, something to do, and something to really use to grow your business. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the session. I will just say, if you want to book a meeting with me, if you're interested in my help, if you're interested in benefiting from my over 30 years of experience, then get in touch. It's no obligation. It's no hard sell. We just do a Zoom meeting, half an hour, and I'll genuinely try to help you with your business. So that's it from me. Oh, by the way, to do that meeting, go to results-mastery.com and get yourself signed up. Thanks ever so much for listening.